sincerely. Number one, the motor that the lorry that used to come and convey the water, the blood water to sanitation site there is not in good mood. We have been trying a lot. The motor has been giving us a lot of problems. Recently now, the motor brake has failed on its way going to drop the blood water to where they used to go and drop it. Unfortunately, it has an accident there now. We are now trying to bring it back to the company so that you can go and repair it.
We didn't have the place where we can keep refuse, and as with the refuse where they are carrying here, so then they dump them for one side, and the place is already full. And we appeal to government that should assist us to come to assist us how we can pack the refuse, because the thing passed our power.
Waste vans were also sighted in around Akure metropolis to ensure that the quest to regain the status of one of the cleanliness throughout the federation is on course.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the postponement of the 2023 population and housing census earlier scheduled for May 3 to 7, 2023 to a date to be determined by the incoming administration. The President gave the approval after meeting with members of the Federal Executive Council and the Chairman of National Population Commission at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. In arriving at the decision to postpone the census, the meeting reiterated the critical need for the conduct of a population and housing census 17 years after the last census to collect up-to-date data that would drive the developmental goals of the country and improve the living standard of the Nigerian people. Buhari commended the methodology being put in place by the Commission to conduct accurate and reliable census, especially the massive deployment of technology capable of delivering world-class census and laying a sustainable basis for future censuses. He directed the Commission to continue with preparations for the conduct of the 2023 population and housing census in order to sustain the gains already recorded and provide the basis for the incoming administration to consolidate these achievements. Ahead of May Day celebration on Monday, members of the organized labor under the auspices of Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) have frowned at the decision of the Ministry of the Federal Capital Territory to cancel the use of the Eagle Square Arena in Abuja for hosting of this year's Workers' Day celebration. The Congress urged Nigerian workers to expect tougher challenges, adding that there were no signs that the hardship and deprivation in the land will abate. Speaking to journalists in Abuja after the May Day lecture delivered by an economic analyst, Sam Amadi, NLC General Secretary Emma Ugbaja said leadership of NLC was dismayed by the sudden withdrawal of permission to hold May Day rally at the normal venue, the Eagle Square in Abuja. FCT Minister Abdullahi Adamu at through a letter notified the labor movement of the cancellation of the permit to organized rally at Eagle Square, saying rehabilitation is being carried out in readiness for the May 29 presidential inauguration. However, Ugbaja described government last-minute withdrawal of permit as a sign of contempt and disdain for the workers. Abducted Federal Commissioner of the National Population Commission for Bayelsa State, Gloria Izonfua, has been released. She was abducted last Sunday along with a maid and driver at Ogbakiri junction of the East-West Road and released after spending 5 days in the kidnappers' den. Confirming the release, spokesperson for the Rivers State Police Command, Grace Enrege Koko, said Ms. Izonfua, along with a maid and driver, have been reunited with their families. Enrege Koko stressed that the police force are still investigating with a view to apprehending the kidnappers. And President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria's size and resources have imposed on the country a stabilizing role in the West African sub-region and the African continent as a whole. Buhari made the expression when he received a message from President Ibrahim Gali of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic from a special envoy at the State House in Abuja. According to Buhari, peace and stability are central to the vision of Nigeria in Africa, stressing that these are essential to security and prosperity in the continent. The special envoy, Mohammed Saleh, who doubles as Minister of Diplomatic Affairs, recalled the role of Buhari in 1983 as being the first African leader to recognize the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. Buhari's recognition of the republic paved the way for others, including the Organization of African Unity, now African Union. In the meantime, Governor of Borno State, Babangana Zulum, has praised the Nigerian Army for fast-tracking, restoring and enhancing security in communities formerly under the control of Boko Haram insurgents, leading to the safe return of inhabitants. At the send-forth organized by the 7th Division in honor of Immediate Past Commander Sector 1 Operation Major General Wahidi Shuaibu, Professor Zulum said apart from addressing the root causes of insurgency, the cordial working relationship with the Nigerian Army has facilitated the gains recorded in its administration's restoration drive. The Borno S-man also stated that the restoration of inhabitants to their ancestral homes had not only strengthened their resilience, it has shown that Boko Haram can be defeated. Zulum assured that in the next 4 years, his administration will build on the gains recorded in security to achieve medium and long-term development plans already being implemented. You're still watching OSRC News at 7. After the break, the national leadership of the Nigeria Association of Resident Doctors issues a 2-week ultimatum to the federal government to commence implementation of pending agreements. Please do join us there.
Every day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair to celebration. A little help can keep you going until the race is won. A little help can turn bundles of anxiety into a bundle of joy. And with Glow Data, you get much more than just a little help. You get the biggest data deals in town to make every day glow with small wins and big wins. Dial *777# to select your Glow Data plan.
Glad to know you are still watching, and you can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV ONDO. Reconciliation has been suggested for incoming administration in Nigeria as the easiest way towards achieving developmental growth. Bishop of Methodist Church Owo Diocese Right Reverend Williams Egbetaki, during his charge at the opening session of the Maiden Diocesan Synod held at the Church Cathedral Okeogun, Owo maintained that a divided nation will find it difficult to grow. Omoniola Ungwiji has more.
Synod in Methodist Church Nigeria is an avenue for leadership of the church, the clergy, and laymen representing their different circuits to come together, deliberate, give account of activities, and map out strategies for physical and spiritual growth of the church. The theme this year, Contending for the Faith, is also to remind Christians to focus on the teachings of Jesus Christ without distraction. Bishop of Owo Diocese, Right Reverend Williams Egbet Akin maintained that it is expected of faithful to remain steadfast in their Christian race. While lamenting the current unrest ravaging the peace of the country, the bishop suggested reconciliation for the incoming administration for development to thrive.
We have a lot of challenges in this country that somebody like me, I will be thinking that this incoming government should embark on reconciliation, and the idea of the winner takes all must be discarded and thrown off, so that the incoming administration should open its door wide for all and sundry to come in. Because one thing is to have the idea, another thing is to have the theme that will assist you to be able to arrive at your destination. Nigeria is a very big country.
Former Archdiocesan lay president of Archdiocese of Igubini, Jonathan Adeyemi, was represented by Oluwole Ademalo, stressed the need for collective efforts with the bishop to propagate the kingdom of God.
This is the appropriate time and forum to update our record about the journey to the creation of our new diocese of Owo.
Owo Diocesan lay president Sunday Williams pledged allegiance to the administration of the Right Reverend Egbet Akin and promised to work together to actualize the vision of the church.
The work of God is a mystery, and no one can just say I want to do it except God is behind that person. With the help of my bishop, the type of a person he is, so he's a person that everybody can work with and be a successful person.
To Justice Adeshuyi Olateru Olagbegi, who is the Babaijo of the church, this program is needed especially for Christians to be constantly reminded of their roles in the expansion of God's kingdom.
The vision for here is to ensure that no one is deprived of the opportunity of knowing the Lord, and that the task of implementing the mandate given to all of us in the Bible is well actualized.
The 4-day event, which brought together delegates from the 5 circuits under the diocese, Okeowo, Enyugbi, Ikare, Ekpemi, and Idoani, will climax on Sunday with a Thanksgiving service at the cathedral in Owo. Omoriola Hungbiji, OSRC News.
The national leadership of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors (NARD) has issued a 2-week ultimatum to the federal government to commence the implementation of all pending agreements. The ultimatum was handed down in a communique at the end of a 3-day extraordinary National Executive Council NEC meeting held at the Federal Medical Center in Abeokuta, Ogun State. The resident doctors also demanded a 15% annual budgetary allocation for health sector from the current 5.7% to address the current infrastructure decay, the recruitment of Nikekoko staff to bridge the gap created by the current brain in the sector, among other demands. Among its demands is an immediate increment in the consolidated medical salary structure to the tune of 200% of the current gross salary of doctors. According to the doctors, the demanded provision of salary structure is in addition to the new allowances included in the letter written by NERD to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Sage Ayanere, on July 7, 2022 for the review of CONMES. Kogi State High Court sitting in Lokoja has ordered the federal government to desist from proceeding with the concession of Ajaokuta Steel Company Limited and the National Iron Ore Mining Company at Itapre. The court also barred the government from conducting its planned virtual pre-qualification conference interview slated for May 4, 2023, pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. Delivering his ruling, Justice Josiah Majevi, the Chief Judge of the state and presiding judge, found substance in the motion and granted the 2 prayers of the applicant, the Attorney General of Kogi State, on behalf of the government and people of the state. The federal government had commenced concession process for the 2 companies which are located in Kogi State and had placed an advertisement to that effect. Within weeks to the end of his administration, Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State has appreciated the contributions made by members of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) deployed to the state since 2015 to date as drivers of its restoration agenda. Masari, who gave the commendation during the swearing-in ceremony of the 2023 Batch A Stream 2 Corps members deployed to the state for the compulsory one-year National Youth Service, challenged them to live up to the standard set by their predecessors and surpass it. The governor further challenged them to shut all social vices, especially with the call for national unity at its peak. He promised the Corps members to disabuse their minds from redeployment as the people of the state will ensure a safe and conducive environment during the service year. The federal government says about 7,000 nationals, including Nigerians, are still stranded at the Egyptian border on their way from Sudan. This is according to the chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa. Dabiri Erewa expressed concern over the plight of those affected, saying the Egyptian authorities are insisting on visas by fellow Africans to transit back to their countries. She appeals to Egypt to kindly allow the already traumatized travelers to transit to their final destinations in various countries in Africa. The appeal comes days after Minister of Foreign Affairs Jeffrey Yema said the federal government hired 40 buses for the evacuation of Nigerians from the war to North African country. In UK, a number of anti-monarchy protests are being organized ahead of the King Charles coronation on May 6. One of them, the Republic, is planning a protest along the coronation procession route. More than 1,300 people have pledged to protest, with more participants expected to sign up in the coming week. Akintomide Akinrogunde has details.
British Republicans are seizing on the lavish coronation of King Charles on the 6th of May to protest against the monarchy. Supporters of anti-monarchy group Republican are planning their biggest ever protest on the royal procession route. They will hold on to placards, blow loudly and chant, "Not my king," as Charles passes in his gold coach, seeing the pomp and ceremony as the perfect chance to expose what they regard as an anachronistic institution. Seeing the pomp and ceremony as the perfect chance to expose what they regard as an anachronistic institution. Polls show Charles to be less popular than his mother, Queen Elizabeth, who died last year. Grant Smith heads the Republic.
I think the monarchy's in a lot of trouble because they've lost their star player. Support is clearly going down. Interest is going down, and that's a big problem for them. So enthusiasm for the coronation's about 9%.
Anti-monarchy protests tend to be small, and polls show the majority of Britain still wants the royal family. Support is slipping though. But a decade ago, 3/4 of Britain backed the royals. A poll this week puts it at 58%. And surveys suggest the young are less keen on older generations. Only 9% of Britons say they care a great deal about the coronation. Most British press still supports the 1,000-year-old monarchy. One newspaper puts the king's personal wealth at almost £2.5 billion. Charles says he wants a slimmed-down monarchy which will be less expensive to run. Some, like author and Black Studies professor Kehinde Andrews, question whether this is the way forward.
You have to accept that there are some institutions that just can't be reformed. So the only thing that the royal family can do if it's serious is to abolish itself.
Demonstrations against the monarchy are also planned in the capitals of Scotland and Wales. Those two nations out of the four that make up the United Kingdom are now led by Republicans. Historian of the royals Alex Hunt says she enjoys reflecting on British past, but that does not mean nothing should change.
But I think all of this would still be part of our history and story and image identity if they had a much reduced role, or if they weren't there at all. I think we would still go to Buckingham Palace. And
King Charles III will be coronated on Saturday, May 6. Akintomide Akinrogunde for OSRC News.
And still on the foreign scene, a Dutch court has ordered a man who judges said had fathered between 500 and 600 children around the world to stop donating sperm. The man, identified only as Jonathan M., was taken to court by a foundation stating Donnerkind, protecting the rights of donor children, and by the mother of one of the children allegedly fathered from his sperm. Dutch clinical guidelines say a donor should not father more than 25 children in 12 families. The judges said the man had helped produce between 550 and 600 children since he has started donating sperm in 2007. A member of Stitching Donnerkind board, Esther Delors, expressed satisfaction over the ruling.
We know now that donor-conceived people, most of the time they want to get to know their relatives, maybe when they're young, maybe later on in life. And well, how do you get to know 500 people or more than 500 people? That's more or less impossible, and there's a lot of scientific evidence also that it's not healthy for people to have that much family. It can cause all kinds of trouble, and that also includes accidental incest. So there are a lot of reasons why we wanted to stop mass donation.
And in sport, five-time world champions Nigeria will begin their quest for honors at this year's Africa Under 17 Cup of Nations when they take on Zambia in the Algerian city of Cotentin on Sunday. The Golden Eaglets flew into Cotentin after merit tests were conducted on the 26 players in Algiers. Nigeria will also play South Africa and Morocco in the group stage of the tournament. Top 4 nations will qualify for the FIFA Under 17 World Cup in November this year. Sunshine Stars of Akure will play Kaduna State champions Standard Football Club in the round of 32 of 2023 Federation Cup. The tie will come up on Wednesday, May 3, at a venue yet to be decided by the Nigerian Football Federation. The ONDO State champions defeated of FC Basira of Nasarawa State 2-0 in the round of 64 at the Conference Stadium Lokoja last Wednesday. Standard FC had to endure a heart-rending shooting before prevailing over Ekiti United, also in Lokoja. Winner of the match will meet Aqua United or EFCC of Abuja in the round of 16. And with that, we conclude the news tonight. But before we go, a quick look at the top stories. We told you that the Ondo State government has cautioned meat sellers at the Songdo Abattoir in Akure North local government area to desist from dumping their waste indiscriminately or face the full weight of the law. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the postponement of the 2023 population and housing census, earlier scheduled for May 3 to 7, 2023. President doctors had given the federal government a 2-week ultimatum on pending agreement. And from the foreign scene, we told you that a Dutch man suspected of fathering more than 500 children worldwide through sperm donation has been ordered to stop by a court. That's the news tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Good evening to you.